Please sit in a comfortable meditation posture and close the eyes. Put your attention on the silence that is always there deep in the mind. Connect with that deep inner silence. Become the silence. You are the silent witness. Now listen to the words of the Yoga Vishishta. We're in Book 5, Chapter 31, continuing with verse 47. Vishnu's other companion is called illusion, or Maya, which is ever busy in the creation of worlds upon worlds, and in stretching a magic enchantment all about them. Now, in this case, when we're speaking of Vishnu,
the leader,
we're actually meaning
English. But this is even the US person.
Krishna is, of course, the Supreme Personality of the Divine, located in the eternal universe called Goloka. And Krishna is also in every one of the temporary communities or universes. This is our universe. And in our universe, Krishna has the name of Vishnu. The goddess of victory, Jaya, is an easily earned attendant for Vishnu. She shines as a shoot of the wish-fulfilling kalpa tree, extending to the three worlds in an all-pervading flame. These two warming and cooling luminaries of the sun and moon serve to manifest all the worlds to view. They are the two eyes situated on the forehead of my Vishnu. This azure sky is the blue color of the body of my Vishnu, which is as dark as a mass of watery cloud, and darkens the sphere of heaven with its sky blue radiance. The meaning of the word Vishnu was afterward changed to the residing divinity in all things. From the root Vish, meaning white. He is the whitish conch in the hand of my Vishnu, which blows its five-fold notes, also known as Panchanjaya, and is as bright as the vacuum, the receptacle of sound. and as white as the milky ocean of heavens. Here I see the lotus in the hand of Vishnu, representing the lotus of his navel, the seat of Brahma, who rose from and set upon it like a bee to form his hive of the world. I see the club of my Vishnu's hand, studded with gems, in the lofty peak of Mount Sumeru. Beset by its shining stones, and hurling down demons from its precipice. I see here the discus of my Vishnu. In the rising luminary of the sun, which fills all sides of the infinite space with the radiant beams that emanate from it. I see there in the flaming fire the flashing sword of Vishnu, which stretches like an axe that can cut down the gigantic bodies of Daitya demons like trees. Giving great joy to the gods. I also see Vishnu's great bow in the variegated rainbow of Indra, and also the quiver of his arrows in the Pushkarta and Avarta clouds, pouring down their rains from above like piercing arrows. Vishnu's big belly is the vast emptiness of the sky, which contains all worlds and all past, present, and future creations in its spacious womb. I see the earth as the footstool of Brahma, and the high sky as the canopy of his head. His body is the stupendous fabric of the universe, and his sides are the sides of the compass. I see the great Vishnu visibly manifest, shining under the blue dome of heaven, mounted on his mountain-like eagle, and holding his conch shell, discus, mace, and the lotus in his hands. I see wicked and evil-minded demons flying from me like straw, blown and carried away by the winds. This dark deity with his blue sapphire color and yellow covering, holding the club and mounted on the Garuda eagle, and accompanied by Lakshmi, is nothing other than the identical, imperishable one, Krishna. What adverse spirit can dare approach this all-devouring flame without being burnt to death like a flight of moths gliding into a great fire? None of these hosts of gods or demigods that I see before me is able to withstand the irresistible course of the determination of Vishnu. All attempts to oppose will be as vain for our weak-sighted eyes to shut out the light of the sun. I know the gods, Brahma, Indra, Shiva, and Agni, the god of fire, praise Vishnu as their Lord in endless verses and many tongues. This Lord is ever resplendent with his dignity and is invincible in his might. He is the Lord beyond all doubt, dispute, and duality, and is joined with transcendent majesty. I bow down to that person who stands like a firm rock amidst the forest of the world and is a defense from all fears and dangers. Vishnu is a stupendous body, having all the world situated in its womb and forming the essence and substance of every distinct object of vision. Chapter 32. Prahlad and the Daitya demons worship Vishnu. The gods complain. Vashishta continued. After Prahlad had meditated on Vishnu in this manner, he made an image of him as Narayana and thought about worshiping that enemy of the Asura demon race. To make the figure a form of Vishnu himself, he invoked the spirit of Vishnu to settle in his outer figure also. He was seated on the back of the heavenly bird Garuda, arrayed with the quadruple attributes of will, intelligence, action, and mercy, and armed with the 4 arms, holding the conch shell, discus, mace, and lotus. His 2 eyeballs flashed like the orbs of the sun and moon in their outstretched sockets. His palms were as red as lotuses, and his bow, saranga, and the sword, nandaka, hung on his 2 shoulders and sides. I will worship this image, thought Prahlad, with all my adherents and dependents, with an abundance of grateful offerings, agreeable to my taste. I will worship this great God, always with all kinds of offerings of precious gems and jewels, and all sorts of articles for bodily use and enjoyment. Having thus made up his mind, Prahlad collected an abundance of various things and made an offering of them in his mind for his worship of Vishnu, the Lord of Lakshmi. He offered rich gems and jewels in plates of many kinds and presented sandal paste in several pots. He burned incense and lit lamps in rows and placed many valuables and ornaments in sacred vessels. He presented wreaths of mandara flowers and chains of lotuses made of gold, together with garlands of leaves and flowers of kalpa plants, and bouquets and nosegays studded with gems and pearl. He hung hangings of leaves and leaflets of heavenly trees, and chaplets and trimmings of various kinds of kathara, kanda, kasa, and kimsuka flowers, and clusters of asoka, mandana, bela, and kanikara blossoms likewise. There were small flowers of the kandamba, vakala, nimba, sinduvara, and euthikas also, and likewise heaps of paribhadra, juguli, and viduka flowers. There were strings of priyangu, patala, pata, and patala flowers, and also blossoms of amra, amrataka, and gavias, as the bulbs of aritaki and vibhitaki mayavals. Flowers of sala and tamara trees were strung together with their leaves, and tender buds of sahakaras were fastened together with their starch-like pistils. There were ketakas and kamanda flowers, and the shoots of ela cardamoms, together with everything beautiful to sight, and the tender of one's soul likewise. Thus did Prahlad worship his Lord Vishnu in the inner apartment of his house, with offerings of all the richest things in the world, joined with true faith and earnestness of his mind and spirit. Now, it is significant to note that this worship of Prahlad, of his Lord Vishnu, is being conducted exclusively in his mind. It mentions that in a previous verse. So what is this practice that Prahlad is engaging in? He is connecting with the silent witness. And as he makes that connection, he gives up his connection with all material things. We can't stand with one foot in the universe and one foot in the silent witness. That doesn't work. We have to step firmly into the silent witness. And so this is what Prahlad is doing. It's a purely mental technique in which he is mentally offering everything of value that other people would term valuable and that he terms as valuable, such as gems and sandalwood paste and so on. He's offering all of this back to Krishna. And he's giving up all attachment to the material world. This is what we do every day when we connect with the silent witness. There is actually only one technique that will ultimately lead to moksha. And we've given names to it like dharana, dhyan, sanyama, trimana sanyama. But all of these techniques are basically just one thing: connecting with the silent witness. Different ways of connecting with the silent witness. That's the only thing that is necessary. Thus did the monarch of Danava's demons worship his Lord Vishnu externally in his holy temple, furnished with all kinds of valuable things on earth. The Danava sovereign became the more and more gratified in his spirit in proportion as he adored his God with more and more of his valuable outer offerings. Henceforward, Prahlad continued to worship his Lord. And what that means when he says worship his Lord, that means connect with the silent witness. That's what worship means, connecting, that's all. Becoming, connecting to the extreme that one becomes the object of worship. Day after day, with earnestness of his soul in the same sort of rich offerings every day. Everything that we own, supposedly, that is in the material world, is connected to karmic traces. Almost everything that we propose to own is connected with our individual karmic traces. Most people don't claim to own the sky or the mountains or the trees, but they might claim to own an automobile or a gold coin or a chair. The difference between the sky and the trees and the automobile and the gold coin is the skies and the trees are connected with divine karmic traces, and the gold coin and the automobile are connected with individual karmic traces. That includes everything. Even if we own a cryptocurrency, what are we owning? We're owning only our own individual karmic trace wrapped up in a frequency that everyone calls a cryptocurrency. It has exactly no value whatsoever. It is purely illusory. And we recognize that as we connect with the silent witness. All these things that we pretend to own, like children, we give up to the silent witness. Now let us continue established in the silent witness and begin the Trimana Sanyama process on the esoteric Mahamantra to balance all karmic traces that have arisen as a result of today's reading in the Yoga Vashishta. Hare Krishna, Hare Rama. Jai Gurudev.